तद्वरं पर्यये विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ योग महर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरि गुरु महाराज की जय। Starting off our session today, let's perform 9 rounds of the Savitri Pranayama. We will perform the 8-4 rhythm. The 8-4 rhythm that is enabling to give structure physically and in so many other ways. So join me as we perform the 8-4 rhythm. We'll do 9 rounds of this rhythm. Breathing out. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Sitting quietly, contemplating the effects of 9 rounds of the Savitri Pranayama that we have done in the 4th tala. The 4th tala, which means that we have been using the ratio of 8-4, 8-4. Approximately 0.8 seconds for each count, in tune with our cardiac cycle calculations. So basically about 20 seconds for each cycle of breath, which means You have been taking 3 breaths per minute, and it's taken you approximately 3 minutes. Just check that up. Yeah, approximately 3 minutes of breathing, 3 breaths per minute to do 9 rounds. Enabling the effect of the 8-4, creating structure. The number 4 is structure. When it expands into the 8, it is an externalized structure. The structure that we create in life so that things can move as they need to move. Yes, Gargi, I did read your mind. Because Patanjali tells us very clearly in the Yoga Sutra, in the Vibhuti-pada, he talks about all the siddhis one gets through the practice of samyama. And he says you can do the samyama on various things, and he says when you start contemplating your own mental activity, you start to understand parachitta jnanam, you start to understand other people's minds. Because he says all minds work in a similar way. And as someone mentioned yesterday after the gangster yogi stuff, that it was a bit spooky because just what they were talking came online. And someone was asking me yesterday morning about that also, in that does this type of sitting together at the same time every day start to create a certain consciousness where we start to understand each other without even asking the question is heard? And I would say yes, the answer is yes. Because we all know it. The more we are focused, the more power the mind has. And when we all focus on a collective consciousness, we start to work together with consciousness, with mindfulness, with positive intent. Definitely the connectivity becomes stronger, and more than the physical, the subtle connections are much, much stronger. And this is something that we have forgotten. When we talk about mantra japa and the repetition of any mantric sound, for example, the Omkar, which I have discussed yesterday as a bija. It could be a bija sadhana where Om is repeated. And you repeat it. Oh, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Or Shivoham, 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 Soham, Satchitananda, Swarupoham, 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 Satchitananda, Swarupoham, Satchitananda, Swarupoham, Satchitananda, Swarupoham. Whenever we do a japa, the beautiful japa that we do, what happens is that this japa can be in multiple forms. One form is the written form, where you write the japa down. So the mantra is written down again and again. So it is called Likita Japa. Likita means to write. Likita Japa is when you write that mantra, that japa, and you are writing it again and again. It's called Likita Japa. The second type of Japa is Vachika, where you are uttering it. For example, I was saying just now Shri Ram, Jai Ram, or Shivoham, Shivoham. What you are doing is that you are uttering it out. You are expressing it, you are vocalizing it. So it is called Vachika. So one type of japa is the Likita japa, where you write it out. The second is Vachika japa, where you express it, vocalizing it. But then there's a third type of japa, which is Manasika japa, where you repeat the mantra in your mind again and again. So repetition of the mantra mentally is Manasika japa, repeating it verbally is Vachika, and repeating it in writing is Likita. So we have three types of japa. Now if you ask me which is the most potent, it is the Manasika japa, that which is done with the mind. The mental repetition of the mantra has the highest power because it is the subtlest type of japa. The grossest level of japa is the written one. And what happened is that we human beings, at one time we could communicate by telepathy. We could communicate by the mind. And that is why the grand teacher, Dakshinamurti Shiva. Dakshinamurti Shiva sits with his 4 students. As Kaustubh keeps reminding us, Patanjali also had 4 students. In fact, Tirumular in the Tirumandaram, the Tamil Muvayam, that is the Tamil treatise that gives us the yogic culture, yogic thought and yogic way of life, as well as the practices and the philosophies within the context of Saiva Siddhanta. But Tirumular Shiva is the highest. And that is why we have the concept of Pati, Pashu and Pasha. That is the Tirumular's teachings. But Tirumular says he, Patanjali and others were students of Nandi, which is basically Shiva, and there were 8 of them. Okay. So it's never been 8 million followers on Instagram. It has never been having thousands of ashrams with millions of sheep as followers. It's never been about that. That's it. So Dakshinamurti Shiva, when he is teaching his students, what happens is that he is teaching in silence. Mauna Vyakya Pragatita Para Brahmatattvam Yuvanam. That's how the Shankara, Adi Shankara talks about Dakshinamurti in the Dakshinamurti Shlokam. He says, Mauna Vyakya, no speech, no verbal communication, Mauna. The great rishis were Muni. Muni means one who keeps quiet, unlike me. The one who knows keeps quiet, the one who doesn't know keeps on blabbering. My father used to call it verbal diarrhea. And you find a lot of that in the world today. People speak for the sake of speaking, even if they have nothing to say. And during this lockdown, a lot of people are doing that. Sometimes I ask myself, do I do it? It's good to ask yourself that question. Mauna Vyakya Pragatita Para Brahmatattvam Yuvanam Vashishtan Deva Sad Rishigana Avartam Brahmanishtai. In that Brahmanishtai they are there. Acharyendram Karakalita Chinmudranandamurtim Swatmaramam Mudidavadanam Dakshinamurtim Ide. A very beautiful verse, but the concept here is Mauna Vyakya. Dakshinamurti Shiva, as the master teacher, Patanjali calls it Purveshamapi Guruhu Kalenana Vachedat. He says the Ishvara is the timeless teacher, not bound, not limited by anything. The teachings were given in silence, where from the mind of the Guru, the mind of the student received it. Isn't that beautiful? You just have to sit there and you learn. Nowadays, well, as level of teacher and level of student went down, the next step was the teacher had to say it and the student had to listen it. We call it Karna Parampara. Karna is the ears. And we say from the mouth of the guru to the ear of the student, and then from that student becomes a guru, mouth of the guru to the ear of the student. The oral, O-R-A-L, which means to say it, A-U-R-A-L, oral, which means the heard. Both are pronounced the same way, oral. The oral tradition. Then what happened? The level of the teacher, level of the student came down even further. So now the teacher has to write it down and give it in class notes. See, Indian tradition never wanted to write things down because it was up here. Then it had to come to here, and then it had to come down to writing down. So writing down is the grossest level of expression. And then nowadays, what do? We have to send an email attachment, and then I have to give you these online sessions like this. Just imagine how degenerate we have become, both teacher and student, that we should be able to just understand each other up here. That is the highest level of teaching, where without having to say it, it is said. The great Kamban, the author of the Tamil Ramayanam, Kamba Ramayanam. Kamban is quite amazing because when Kamban talks about this, he has a scene. This is the scene where Rama and Sita meet each other. Rama has come to Mithila, the city where Sita is the princess. And King Janaka, Sita's father, had announced a Swayamvara. In those days, you had to earn your bride, okay? You didn't just get a bride, you had to earn her. You had to have some talent, you had to have some ability. So they had to come and lift this big bow of Shiva. Rama comes to Mithila, and as they're walking around, he looks up on the balcony and there's Sita Devi. And Sita Devi looks at Rama and Rama looks at Sita Devi and the eyes meet. And it's love at first sight. Yeah? Well, Kamban, when describing this, because for Kamban, Rama is God. For Valmiki, it's not so much God, it's more human personification, whereas for Kamban, it's God. And Kamban keeps reminding us Rama is Vishnu and Sita is Lakshmi. He keeps on reminding us. And he says, Annalum nokinan, avalum nokinal. Rama looks at Sita and Sita looks at Rama. And he says, Pirindavar Kudinal, Pesal Vendumo. He says, both of them were in the Milky Way, Part Kadal. And when they left it, it became Kadal. It became the dark ocean. The white ocean became the dark ocean because Vishnu and Lakshmi have come down to earth. So there's nothing there. And so instead of the Milky Way, it became a dark black hole. Par Kadal became Kadal. He says what happens is that they separated there. And now they have come back together. He said when those two who have separated come back together, our words required. Pirindavar Kudinal Pesal Vendumo. Our words needed. Just being in the presence is more than enough. In one way, though I criticize the online sessions this way, in one way we are all having a presence at the same place at the same time. A couple of dozen of us, we are in the same place at the same time. So it is a type of connection. So one has to be a bit careful what one thinks, what says, what one does, because it does have a greater impact than when you are isolated and living in your own hole. Remember, it's nobody else built that hole for you but you. Coming back, we were talking about the Savitri Pranayama, and this morning we started off with the performance of 9 rounds of the 8-4 for those who came in late. Now, when we are bringing the Savitri Pranayama and we are extending it into what would be called a Jnana and Raja Yoga, Kriya or Prakriya. And I have yesterday shared a video where I've used a whiteboard class for this. We are working with the two opposite energies, equal and opposite energies. The positive and negative flux, which are called as Prana and Apana. So the Prana and the Apana flow. The pranic flow which normally goes up is brought down. The apanic flow which normally goes down is brought up. So what we do is, in the process of visualization, We are bringing the prana. We are visualizing this warm golden prana as we breathe in. So it's a warm golden prana coming from head down to the feet. And as we breathe out, a cool silvery apana coming up and coming up and out. And we put this visualization onto the Savitri rhythm. So if we were to do, we will do 9 rounds of the visualization. That is why we started off with the 8, 4, 9 rounds. To do a bit of this today, we are working towards it. When we do this, what we are doing is we are harmonizing, we are balancing. Because yoga is all about balance. Yoga is not about the extremes, it's about the middle path. It is about moderation, and that is that state of integration called yukta, Y-U-K-T-A. Yukta is the key, and that is the golden mean that you are trying to work on. And it doesn't mean you have to be a mean yogi, okay? It's a golden mean, which means that you are in that state of balance. Samatvam yoga uchyate, as Krishna tells us in the Bhagavad Gita. It's a very beautiful concept, the Samatvam concept. People think of it as only equipoise and equanimity up here. But it is at all levels of our existence, finding a harmonious balance. And if any of you have been on these seesaws, kids used to play on those seesaws. The last time I went to a park, I don't remember which country it was. They no longer have seesaws because safety issues. Yeah? So now what they have is they have these 2 ends with springs under them. And you go and you bounce on that spring. How ridiculous. In the name of safety, we have taken away childhood from people. But then, it's decades later that we come to even realize it, and by then it's become the new norm. But when we were kids and we could go on a seesaw, you had one kid on this side and another on this side, and as you go up, and then you go down and you go up, It's a beautiful lesson in life that when you both work together, you have a very harmonious state and balance. Where does balance lie? In the middle. Not here, not there. The ends are not where the balance lies. Balance lies in the center. Yukta, yes. Y-U-K-T-A, which means to be integrated. It is the middle path, which is the yoked path. And thank you, Gargi. Nice that New Zealand still has it. That's why you still have a good, maybe the best leader in the world currently. Because you still have those things. So people still grow up learning about balance. And yes, it's the noble middle path, Gitan. Definitely yes. Buddha had the same concept, the middle path. All great masters had that concept of the middle path. It is only the idiots who are thinking of the ends. I'm reminded of a beautiful statement that as a kid in school, my English teacher, that time Kumaraswamy sir, brought out in one of the discussions on one of the poems in our lesson, whether the means justify the ends or the ends justify the means. And just to play on that, the mean is more important. The end is not so important. We have got focused on the ends. We have got focused on the fruits of the action. Whereas Krishna says be focused on the action, which is the means. And that is why Karmanyevadikaraste mapaleshu kadachana. Pala is the ends. You get the good pala and the bad pala. You get the good and the bad and the ugly also. That's for gangster yogi later. Good, bad and ugly. But the yogi transcends all of this because they are in the mean. So yoga is all about that golden mean. So coming back to it. When we are working with the prana and the apana, it is not because we want to work with the prana and apana, but working with the prana and the apana enables a sense of balance to occur. That balance is called as polarity. So whenever Swami Gitananda Giri in his teachings used to say polarity, what it means is not to go to the extremes. People think oh, society is polarized, and so they think it is going to the ends. No. Polarity is a state of balance where the opposites have been brought into equilibrium. So when we use the word polarity, and these are polarity practices, it is to restore a harmonious balance that goes all the way down to your subatomic, cation, anion, cellular levels, cation, anion, subatomic, electron, proton, and coming all the way up to your sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. Represented, the polarity represented by your right and left sides, the right and left brains, and the right and left nostrils. So there is this constant effort. A constant effort is there. Because what is happening is that we are forgetting that it is not what we work with, but what we have resulted because of the way we have worked with it. And that is why the focus is on what you are doing in the present moment. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. When we think about yesterday, we get depressed. And when we think about tomorrow, we get anxious. That is why that equanimity is in the middle. So when we work with the prana and the apana, prana and apana, we are working to induce and educe rather. Because induce seems like it comes from outside. Educe is from within. We are manifesting from within a harmonious state of balance, which is vital. So when we are working with the prana coming down from the top of the head to the feet and the apana going up. What we are doing is at the navi, at the manipura, at the seat of the samana, we are creating a harmonious sense of balance. And that is why the energy in the samana is often depicted like this, like a beautiful circular movement, or rather a spiral movement. That is the energy here. And when you look at the double helix, spherical spiraling, the spiraling of your DNA, double helical, and you go and look at your umbilical arteries and veins that connect the baby to the mother, you find a lot of these pieces come together. Okay, so let's do 9 rounds of this today. An introduction to the concept of what is known as Anuloma Viloma Kriya or Anuloma Viloma Prakriya. The prefix pra is a superlative. So it is not just an action, but it is an action done at a subtle level. So it is called a prakriya, which means basically the mind is being used. And because the mind is being used and you are becoming a master of yourself, it is a jnana and a raja yoga prakriya. Okay, every term in the Gitananda tradition has a meaning associated with it. And yes, Arvinda ji, thank you. You continue to inspire me always. And I will look forward to your article on Savitri Pranayama. And yes, definitely, because, what we want is we want to stimulate each other. We want to inspire each other. And in that way, we all grow. Because the depth of the Gitananda tradition is so deep that most people miss it because everybody is a puddle digger. Just if in the puddle you get nothing, you get dirty water. I'll tell you a story about puddles later, and if I don't, remind me about it because my storytelling classes are the good ones. The others are the boring ones, okay? Let's do 9 rounds of this, 8-4, okay? So as we breathe in, I'm not going to be reminding you too much, but as you breathe in, I want you to visualize, you could be lying down for this or sitting. I'm sitting so that you can see me because if I do that, you don't see me anymore, right? Right? So that's why I'm not lying down. You could be lying down or sitting, but the main concept here is the visualization, the prana and the apana. Prana, apana, prana, apana. And if you haven't watched that YouTube video, please watch it. The Jnana Yoga Polarity Kriyas of Gitananda tradition. It's on the site of YouTube. Because it's a whiteboard and I've discussed it quite well. Okay? Not because it's me, but it's quite good. Okay? So get ready, making sure your spine is aligned if you're sitting, and if you are lying down, head to the north, feet to the south, heels together to create a beautiful sense, closed circuit of energy. Breathing out, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, prana, coming down towards the feet, holding there at the feet, out, apana, coming up from the feet, up to the head, and hold beyond the head, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold below the feet, out, apana, cool, coming up and out the head, hold above the head, in, 2, 3, 4, prana coming down, hold out the feet, out, apana coming up beyond the head, hold beyond the head, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold, 2, 3. Enjoy the feeling of a beautiful harmonious balance. The balance between the prana and the apana. the warm golden energy of the pranic flux, a positive flux of energy related to the solar energy, and the apanic energy, a negative flux, cool silvery apana, related to the lunar phase. You have the solar and the lunar, the ha and the ta, the pingala and the ida, the surya and the chandra, the shiva and the shakti, the purusha and the prakriti, the masculine and the feminine, the day and the night, balancing the opposites in a sense of harmonious balance within, a sense of samatvam, a sense of sthita, stairyam arising out of this. Enjoy this sense of balance and let that balance continue into the rest of your day, enabling you to be a person who is a balanced human being, someone who finds that inner balance even while the world rages around in turmoil, being steady in the eye of the storm, the eye of the cyclone, unperturbed by the whirlwinds going on outside. The balance indeed lies within.